Hi everyone, welcome and welcome back. My name is Sam and you're watching Sammie Cakes. I know with these types of videos people really like to have the stats, so I'm just gonna put them all up on the screen right now. I got my SAT, my GPA, the amount of AP and honors classes that I took. Just get that out of the way so then I can explain the interesting stuff. So, Spelman. I don't know when people are going to be watching this video. It could be sometime this month or in a couple of years. So let me just break down what's going on in the year of our Lord 2020. It's kind of been a hot mess. We've had a global pandemic with the I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on YouTube. Kind of messed up everything. But we're getting through it. Because of this virus, it's kind of influenced certain things when it comes to academics and trying to apply to college and what colleges are, doing, trying to figure out, how they're going to do this. I'm going to be giving some dates just so that people can understand a little bit more about this process before I explain certain things that I've done. I applied to Spelman, I believe sometime in early February or late January. I got my decision notification on April 1st and I was accepted into the honors program on that same day. I am also a YSTEM participant. That's a women in STEM person. I was an applicant of 72 girls and they picked 16. So I'm very grateful. I was fortunate to be one of those girls. And I started the YSTEM program around June 10th. And I think that's really important to note because I did not get my scholarship until July 13th, which is basically a month after I got accepted into the STEM program. So I think one of the first tips that I have for Spelman people is that maybe try and do something that will get you noticed by the president. Because I think in my STEM program meetings, I'm pretty sure she knew who I was sometime in June. So she not only saw my application, all of my stats and all of that, but she also saw what I was doing in the STEM program. And I think that might have influenced her decision. So for me, I was a presidential scholar, which basically means the president picks out 10 girls that she thinks could get the scholarship, and then they narrow it down to 5, and I was one of the lucky 5 people, which is really cool. Now that you understand what this year has been about and basically how the presidential scholarship works, I can start to talk a little bit more about myself. I need to get my resume. I showed you guys the stats earlier in this video, but I'll just run through them real quick. So GPA, max can be a 5.0 because we have AP classes, advanced placement classes, so I have a 4.2 because I got B's in some honors classes which do not get a GPA bump at my school. I took the SAT twice. I got a 1290 the first time, 1460 the second time. So what did I do to prepare? I did a 7-week, I think it was 7. It might have been more like 9. I did this 9-week SAT summer program thing. It was all throughout the summer and then a little bit of August. And then I took the test right after I finished the class and I got a huge bump in points. It was really good. So AP classes, I took 9 AP classes and I took 6 tests. I got 4s and 5s on all of them except for Spanish. I got a 3 on Spanish. So this is part 2 of the video. Sports, clubs, extracurriculars. I'm gonna be completely honest. I want to say this right out of the gate. I did not do a lot of clubs. There are some people that do an insane amount of extracurriculars, and I just did not really do that. Not really. But I will kind of try and break this down a little bit. I'm gonna pull up my resume actually this time. Okay, so community service is not mandatory for my school, but it might as well should be because everybody does at least 2 years of it. That's what I did. Actually I did 3 years. 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. I was a beta club member. That's everybody knows what beta club is. But I think the most important thing that I did there was that I volunteered at a church for a program called Meals by Grace. Basically just a program where we organize food food baskets for people in our community who are impoverished and cannot get it themselves. I was also part of a club that a good friend of mine made called Love Through Letters, where we donated we donated money to girls in the Philippines, and we wrote them letters through email. A pretty good amount of sports that I've done. Ninth grade, I don't really remember what I did. I might have still been playing club soccer, so I wasn't with the school. 10th grade, I did junior varsity basketball, and I did junior varsity track. 11th grade, I was on junior varsity, sometimes varsity track, and then senior year, I did not do any sports. Yeah, so that's really it for the clubs and sports. It's really not a whole lot. It's because I found passions elsewhere, I guess. Very strong passions that maybe a club couldn't really facilitate. Part 3 is work experience, which is pretty important for a college resume. So I was a part of an organization at our school that wasn't technically considered a club. I was a line cook and a server for a culinary class. We would take orders from all of the teachers and staff from around our school. We would make the food, we would put it into boxes, and then we would go around the school in these big old carts and then just be like flying all across the halls trying to deliver it to all the teachers. So it was really fun, and I was actually able to get a little bit of a part-time job because of that, that club. And what I did is I worked at the fair for a couple of weeks, just as like a fair food server person. It wasn't anything too insane. I did work a cash register, and I think that was helpful because a couple of like days after I finished that job, I got more of a full-time job. Well, it wasn't full-time. It was still a part-time job, but I went there almost every day. At Lifetime Fitness, I was a cafe member. I was a smoothie maker, cleaner, barista. I don't know why I was moving my shoulders there. I did a pretty good job over there because I started in October, and then I was team member of the month in December, which I definitely made sure like my colleges and stuff knew that, because I thought that was really cool. I'm not working there right now because I got furloughed when the coronavirus hit, so that's really it with the work experience. So you can kind of notice a trend with all of the work experience jobs that I have. All of them are really like food orientated. So I think the second big tip, I don't know if I already had a big tip, but the second big tip that I would give when it comes to applying to colleges is like have just like these intense hyperfixations. Have those like intense passions to where like when a college, what's it called? Counselor? I don't think counselors read it. College, when that person's reading it, they're like, oh, they're really passionate about this. I can't ignore this person. Let's look into them a little bit deeper. Now that we've got all of the more typical stuff out of the way, here's part 4, the interesting part. What makes me somewhat unique from all the thousands of other girls that go to Spelman, the thousands of people that go to college, and how was I one of the few people in the country that was able to get such a tremendous scholarship? Well, I don't know, but I'm going to try and break it down for us. There's 3 really important aspects to why I probably got this scholarship. Number 1, I'm a self-published author. As some of you may know who know me in real life or have followed the channel, I actually am a self-published author. I published a book in 11th grade, a dark fantasy novel called The Cursed Red, and it was a story that I had been working on since I was in like 5th or 6th grade. 6th grade was really when I started to write it, but I came up with the idea in 5th. The big takeaway for me and getting this scholarship is just, I think it's a combination of my really good grades, a strong SAT, and just having this out-of-the-box type stuff. The second thing that I think was a big factor was that I also have a blog, SammieCakes.com, where I post, I sounded like that Addison Rae. Okay, I need to focus. Okay, but anyway, I have a blog, sammiecakes.com. On the blog, I post like essays and poems and like drawings that I've done. So it's possible that maybe they checked that out and they thought, okay, she really does love writing. So that was also something important. And I think the third big thing was something I mentioned earlier, was that I think the president might have known me. She knew me for a couple weeks before they announced the presidential scholarship decision. She saw my face and she knew what I was doing. That could be a possibility. I'm not entirely sure though. This video is really not a how you can get a full ride scholarship, but more of a how I probably got mine. That's how I'm gonna try and title it too. We've reached the finale of this video. I have a little paragraph that I wrote down, my last big chunk of advice. I know in our society, in our school system, we have a lot of extrinsic motivation like GPA, you know, what our SAT is, how many cores we have at graduation, and it can really be depressing. It can bum some people out because you feel like you have no, like you feel like you're wasting your time. But ultimately the most important thing about trying to excel and make something of yourself is trying to find that intrinsic motivation. What is motivating you internally? What is the point of what you're doing? That's the most important point to make, because that's what made me stand out. I focused so hard on writing a book. I focused so hard at wanting to be like a good like chef and server. It's what got me into my STEM program, because I was just so excited to learn more about machine learning and getting my credits done for science and math a little early. Just having that intensity to learn and to be something. I do struggle with some self-doubts, and I'm not always entirely positive or completely satisfied, even if I have done something great. But ultimately, and this is the last ultimately, it's trying to turn all those negative emotions into positivity, into productivity, and ultimately, this is the last ultimately, into happiness. So stay motivated, do awesome stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later.